After we've locked the images, the next thing that we need to do is create some guides so that we know where we're going to put the objects on our page. So we're going to put 3 horizontal guides on this page and 1 vertical page. This is the first page. So in order to do that, you just want to click here in the ruler and then drag down with your mouse, and you'll start being able to see this line that you're actually pulling out of the ruler. This is a guide. This is just going to be a blue line that lets us sort of make sure things are aligned, but it's not going to appear in our final product. So the first guide that I need to make should be at 260 pixels, and I can sit and sort of try and get it right, but it's easier if you just let go. Up here at the top, tell it that you want it to be at 260. Hit enter, it's going to snap to 260. The next one is at 398. And the next one is at 484. Okay, and then for a vertical guide, we're just going to drag it out from this left ruler. And this needs to be at 14. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is create a text box. And we're going to fill this text box with the word space. So I'm just going to sort of make one anywhere because I can move it later. And the default is going to be a small typeface, kind of probably Minion or maybe Times. And let's make this Edwardian script. It's regular, 232 pixels. And so it's going to look like that. The next thing that we need to do is, this is black, you can see it peeking out right here, and you can also tell it's black because here in your toolbar you have some information about the color of the thing that you're working with. So space is highlighted, and here in our toolbar it's saying that whatever we have highlighted right now has a black fill and no stroke. That means it's black on the inside, it has no outline, which is good. Text shouldn't have an outline unless you're doing some sort of specialized effect, and even then it's pretty rare. We can actually change this color over here in our swatches palette. There's already a swatch for white. It's called paper because normally you would be printing whatever you're making in InDesign. So back when InDesign was created, there was no such thing as making these interactives, so the white was called paper. Obviously there's no white ink, so if you wanted to print something out and you use this color paper, it would just print nothing. So now we have space, but it's not in quite the right area. So what we need to do is line this up so that the top of the S touches this guide at 260, just like this, and so the curly Q touches this vertical guide right here, so it should sit between these 2 guides. The next thing that we want to do is create another text box and fill it with the word race, all caps, select it, and this is going to be impact, regular. Now to get from here to here to here, you can click, or if you're in one and you press tab, it'll just go to the next one. So I'll just press tab and it'll go to the next one. And this is 92. Okay, the top of this touches the 398 guide. And then let's get that side aligned with the second column guide here. Now, this is currently black. We want it to be a different color, so let's highlight it. Over here, if we double click on the T, we can give it a different color, and there's some values in your assignment that you want to assign to this color. And again, I'm just pressing tab to go between these boxes. It's a lot faster than clicking from box to box to box. So I'm going to hit OK, and now you'll see that it's changed. I've got that beige color over here, and if we click new swatch, that beige will actually end up in our swatches. So anytime I want to use that beige, instead of typing in the color values again, I can just click over here like I did for the paper. Now I'm going to double click on it and unselect name with color value. I'm going to name that beige. Okay, so if I wanted to use that again, let's say I wanted to make space beige, I could just highlight it and click it, but I'm going to Apple Z because I didn't want to do that. Now, you'll see that this word race is in front of, kind of on top of, the word space. That's because in InDesign, remember the metaphor is that we have a piece of paper that's sitting on a desk and we're adding things to it. Whatever we add first ends up being on the bottom, so it's just like construction paper. If you cut out a red heart and put it on the desk and then you cut out a smaller pink heart, it'll be on top of the red one and cover it up. So that race is the second thing that we did the second piece of text that we wrote, so it's on top of the word space. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, and I'm going to send it backward, and it's going to go behind that word space. And I can also go to Object, Arrange, and I could bring it forward if I wanted it to be on top, but I actually want it to be behind because I want to be able to see that curve of the word space. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is create some buttons. And we're going to create those right here in this space. Now, I don't like that this box is hanging down because it's kind of visually confusing, so I'm just going to pull that up. To create a box, we're going to grab our frame tool, and we're just going to draw it in this space right here. And we want this to be paper. And now we're going to change this to a button. So I'm going to click on my black selection tool, and it's already selected, but if you click off, you can click back on and it'll be selected again. You can tell it's selected because it has these squares around it. I'm going to hold Control, which is right click on a Mac, and I'm going to go to Interactive, Convert to Button. And you'll see this button panel opens up from our palettes over here. And we're going to name it Button 1 and Event. That means, what do we want to be the trigger for this button? Do you want it to be that when you roll over something, when you roll over the button, something happens? Do you want it to be that when you click the button, something happens? Or do you want it to be that when you click the button and then let go, something happens? And generally for buttons, they use this on release. It's fine if you want to do a rollover if it fits with what you're doing, but standard buttons are written to be an on release event. And we're going to click plus to create an action. We're going to go to page, and then down here we're going to say that that goes to page 1. It's already 1 because that's the page that we're on right now. Underneath that we have some options for appearance. So what do we want this button to be like? Right now it's just a white square, but as you know, buttons have some sort of action. There's something, it has to give us feedback that something's happening when we put our cursor on it. If you put your cursor on it and nothing happens, how are we supposed to know that it's a button? So what we're going to do is give this some attributes that are going to allow it to have different, what's called different states. So the normal state, we want that to be white, and let's give that an 80% transparency. So click on it, and up here at the top, let's change the transparency from 100 to 80. Hit enter, and now that's going to lighten up. Now click on rollover, and you'll see that the thing that we just made is now copied into the rollover. Let's make the rollover 100%. That way this button gets brighter when someone rolls their mouse over it. And let's give it a click state. Let's make this the same as the rollover, so 100%, no transparency at all. And we want people to know that they're actually, when they click, it actually knows that they're clicking and it's doing something. So let's put a inner glow on this, and we're going to do that up here in the Object, Effects, Inner Glow. Okay, and we have a little preview button so we can see what's happening. Let's change the mode to normal and click here where it's white and make it black. And now you'll see that there's a shadow here. Let's bump this up to 90 since it's a little hard to see, and you'll see that that shadow gets a lot deeper. And go ahead and press OK. And now we can go through our buttons and we can see that this is what it looks like. When someone rolls over it, it'll do this, and when someone clicks on it, it'll do this, which gives the effect of the button being pressed. Let's copy this button and go ahead and put another version of it, or another copy of it, in the middle. So I'm going to press Apple C and then Apple V. And you'll see in the buttons palette that it actually changed the name to button 2, and we can change go to page. Let's change that to page 2. We want the same states because we want these buttons to be consistent. And now let's press Apple V again, and let's put this third button here in the corner. Again, it's changed the name to button 3, and let's say that that goes to page 3. So I'm going to go ahead and close that because we are now done with the buttons for this page. We just need to put some text on them. So I'm going to create a text box that goes all the way across this button. Okay. If you see these green lines, the green lines are meant to tell you when things are. It's 52 pixels and it's centered, and you'll see that over here. These are the same as what you have in Microsoft Word. Okay, and we want that to be black. It looks a little bit high. See how there's more space between here, this O and this bottom, than there's between the top of the O and then the top of the button. So I'm just gonna sort of use my arrow keys to put it more in the center. Okay, I'm gonna copy and paste that and put it on the center button. And again, you'll see these green lines. As soon as this is lined up with home, you'll see green lines going from one to the other, showing that this is perfectly lined up with the thing next to it. And let's change this to history. And I'm going to paste again and line it up and change this to gallery. Now if you're not sure if you got these lined up, what you can do is select one. Now hold shift and select the one next to it. While you continue to hold shift, select this third one, and up here in your toolbar you have some commands that help you align things. These are the alignment buttons, and you'll see this one, if I click it, would align all the edges to the left. So I'm going to click it, but that put everything on top of each other because that's literally aligning all these left edges. So I'm going to press Apple Z and go back. We want to do this bottom align where it aligns everything on the bottom edges. And it looks like nothing happened because they were already aligned really well. So that's it for our first page.